The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the UMass 5 College Credit Union, dedicated to creating access to financial well-being for local people, businesses, and communities. Insured by NCUA, umass5.coop. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Real Pickles, a worker-owned cooperative in Greenfield producing organic fermented vegetables sourced from Northeast Farms. More information at realpickles.com.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith. I forgot my last name for a second.
And I'm Khalees Smith. Later in the show, we head to Worcester County.
That's not the name of the show. That's Central Mass.
But it's so close to the Hampshire border, and there's a new facility there that'll help out many farmers in the 413. So we'll head to Hardwick to talk with Kate Stillman of Stillman Quality Meats.
But first, we'll bring in comedian, actor, artist, and more Allah Shahada, whose one-man show, The Horse of Jenin, is bringing an important and hilarious view of Palestinian life to the Fine Arts Center in Amherst.
Allah Shahada is a Palestinian theater maker and actor whose work blends physical comedy, stand-up, and mask performance.
A graduate of the Freedom Theater Acting School in Jenin Refugee Camp, an institution nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in 2024, Shahada uses humor and storytelling to amplify Palestinian experiences on global stages.
His critically acclaimed show, The Horse of Jenin, offers a moving and humorous reflection on his upbringing in Jenin and has been performed internationally, gaining accolades at the Edinburgh Fringe Fest as well as other places, and it will be performed at the UMass Fine Arts Center in Amherst this Thursday, November 6th. Allah, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for hosting me, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, it's our privilege that this show is coming here. It was really interesting watch, I think. Where do the masks come in?
Well, the masks are coming in the show. You will see them through specific characters that I present on stage. And it presents my grandfather, the world of a Palestinian old man, and another mask, which is another girl who's the lover in the story. And the last mask is Ahmed, who is my friend in the story. And the masks brings the worlds of these characters, bringing the world of a child living in Palestine on a really wide image. And this is why the masks. The masks came from a company that I'm working with since years, Troop Courage, where we developed this form of masks and techniques. And we put it within the show, The Horse of Jenin, so you can see them clearly during the story, where you see the masks coming with the storytelling and stand-up.
Troop Courage, that's what it's about, I'm assuming, that you're using masks and theater to speak truth to power in a courageous way. And it's based in Amsterdam, where I believe you are right now. Tell us a little more about Troop Courage.
Well, Troop Courage, it's a Dutch theater company based here in Amsterdam, and Troop Courage was funded by Katrin van Berden, who is a theater maker in the Netherlands, who came to the Freedom Theater in 2011 to Jenin, where I was studying theater. And since that workshop, we built this relationship between me and the company, where I start to come back every year, once or twice, to have a workshop, to learn, to make shows together using the masks. And we met, as I said, at the Freedom Theater back home in Jenin.
And that Freedom Theater, as we mentioned in the intro, was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize last year in 2024. You grew up in Jenin, in this refugee camp in the West Bank. And theater is something that we talk a lot about on this show. And I think all of us in the world are facing nefarious forces to a certain degree. And theater and the arts is one way to push back against the darkness. So having grown up in such a harrowing circumstance, tell us about what theater and the Freedom Theater Acting School in Jenin in particular meant to you as a Palestinian living in a refugee camp.
Well, that's the privilege of being an actor or theater maker. It creates this solid mentality and powerful imaginations that you can share it with your community, to open up imaginations, to open up hard questions, hard situations, problems, where theater can be a relief to everyone in Jenin and in the camp to come and see and laugh and feel relieved about strong issues, and having the ability to talk openly about all these issues. The Freedom Theater is a place where I, as a child, was empowered. I got to know myself more and more, and I got to know, oh, I want to be a performer. I want to be an actor. It's a great place in a refugee camp where this camp we're talking about right now, most of the population, all of it, around 25 to 30,000 people were kicked out of their houses. They're not living there right now. And the army is just demolishing houses in the camp. And the Freedom Theater, we don't know if it's still there standing or destroyed, which makes it very, 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 very sad and very depressing to see that place that might be demolished in Jenin camp, because it's the only space for the kids and for the people to come and watch and imagine and escape from reality and see the reality in new faces and new ways, new words, new images. It was the place that where I can escape to as a child and to see myself, my skills, what I want to become, have a conversation, being creative, having hard questions about the community, about the Palestinian Authority, about the Israeli occupation, etc., etc.
We're speaking with Alla Shahada, whose critically acclaimed show, The Horse of Jenin, will be coming to the UMass Fine Arts Center in Amherst this Thursday, November 6th.
I think similarly, I don't necessarily think the majority really understands what an important tool comedy is to the oppressed or to those who are persecuted. And yet you have started a comedy club. Can you talk about the importance of comedy in that truth-telling?
I am, as a theater maker, my research, my dig deep place is comedy, where I want to produce and perform comedy. I want to make people laugh, and I want use the comedy to go through hard red lines. And that is the power of comedy. It really breaks all these red lines and speaks about things that you think you cannot speak about as in any theater piece. And that is the power of comedy, where you are in a place you cannot say that much. But comedy offers you a platform to say it, and even people will laugh with you at it or with it. You know what I mean? And here we can use the tool of comedy to really go through hard subjects. And we have a lot of them in Palestine. And at the same time, this is another face of who we are as Palestinians. We use humor in every little thing happens in our life. If I go to the coffee shop, if I go to the hummus sellers, to the falafel, always there is a joke. Even if there is nothing happening, they will make up a story to have a punchline and make you laugh. And always you will leave with the laughter. And that is the power of this culture that, unfortunately, we don't see abroad because of the political situation that we have. And here comedy comes to break this stereotype about Palestinians and about the Palestinian community. No, it's a culture full of life, full of hope, full of normal stories, daily life, buses, engineers, doctors, kids, people who dreams, actors, teachers. It's all of that. And unfortunately, this is not shown to the international community. And that's why, for me, The Horse of Jenin is a great chance to meet the international audiences and go with them with the 75 minutes of a journey into the daily life of Jenin refugee camp and into the story of the horse, the statue of the horse that was created 20 years ago in Jenin, and how much it meant to us and how much this daily life and this story has comedy and tragedy at the same time.
You can learn more about the Palestine Comedy Club with the documentary that premiered at South by Southwest in London and received the Spirit of Radiance Award. And you can learn more about The Horse of Jenin this Thursday at the UMass Fine Arts Center. And this was not an actual living horse, but an icon in the Jenin refugee camp, playwright and comedian Alla Shahada. Can you tell us the story of the horse?
The story of the horse starts in 2002 with an Israeli invasion to Jenin camp, where it destroyed most of the camp. 1 year later, a German artist came all the way from Germany to Jenin camp just to understand, meet the people. And then after he met the people, he got the idea that these people are full of resilience, full of power and hope. I need to make something that represents them. That's why he went to the destroyed houses, destroyed ambulances, cars, and he made a horse, a 5 meters horse I know in America this is confusing for you guys, but
We
you
can
can
get the
Google
gist
it.
of it.
5
For
meters
me,
is about 15 feet for the imperial using audiences.
It's 2 horsepower.
I am aware how many people flew with their imagination. What's that? Is it a little puppet or a little big? No, no. From the context, you can understand that it's a huge horse. So he built that horse from these destroyed ambulances and houses, and he made this horse. And we had a great celebration in Jenin when we put it in Jenin camp, and then we built around it, and it then became a meeting point to everyone in Jenin. There where we meet, there we drink other coffee, eat, meet our lovers, we fight there. It's a point where everyone meets. Like, where are you at the horse roundabout? So it's a concept that's within our stories. Now, 30th of October 2023, the Israeli army came to Jenin camp all the way with a D9 bulldozer, and they literally ripped it out from the roundabout, and they just left with it. They left Jenin, and they took the horse. And from there, I woke up next morning, and I asked the question, like, why? Like, why? And from there, I start to write a few minutes about the horse. I developed it more and more until it became a 75 minutes piece that speaks the whole background and the whole daily life of me growing up as a child with this horse.
Coming up, more with Alla Shehadeh as we talk about his work with Red Nose International and the reach comedy can have in oppressive circumstances. And we'll hear more about his one-man show, The Horse of Jenin, which is coming to the Fine Arts Center at UMass for its only U.S. appearance this year.
After which, we'll head to the eastern shores of the Quabbin to check out a new meat processing plant being built in Hardwick and introduce you to the force behind it, Kate Stillman of Stillman Quality Meats.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Hashi Pottery in 50 Arrow Gallery at Eastworks. Japanese-inspired ceramics and textiles, where every piece is handmade in the Pioneer Valley for home, ritual, or someone dear. HashiPottery.com.
We're speaking about The Horse of Jenin, which is a performance you can see at UMass Fine Arts Center this Thursday, November 6th, and we're speaking with the creator of The Horse of Jenin, Alla Shehadeh.
How does this work change from location to location as you take it to Edinburgh and Amsterdam and now to Amherst? I mean, it's a one-person show, but I wonder what changes about your staging or yourself in these new locations, each place you bring it.
Well, that is again the power of comedy. It allows you to be flexible, to change, adapt, whatever you want, but keeping the track of the story. So every time I go to a place, to new audiences, I scan the room, try to understand, read about the audience, the background in a minute to scan, and I play around that and set them up to the story with whatever background we have in the room. And I made the show also in a way that it's very simple and very international at the same time and very human, where any human from totally a different culture can relate to. Now, the difference is with the size of the reaction on the laughter. This haha is the difference from a country to another. London wins the biggest, longest haha.
Amherst is going to give London a run for its money on Thursday.
Amsterdam is in the middle because they have some internationals. If you go south to the Netherlands where it's full of Dutchy, it's like really low. It's almost one ha. You don't hear the finish the ha. You know what I mean?
Right.
It becomes interesting comedy, and that's my research between interesting comedy, where people react at my comedy like, interesting joke. I'm laughing so hard. I'm laughing so hard from the inside.
Yeah.
I will laugh at it in the weekend.
Alla Shehadeh is a comedian and a playwright, but apart from just being on the stage, you've used your comedy as a clown doctor with Red Noses International, which reminds me of the Saturday Night Live writer Jack Handy's old joke that said, "My father always said laughter was the best medicine," which is perhaps why several of us died of tuberculosis. But See, he only did the one right there. That's Jack Handy's joke, not my joke you're not laughing at. He's a Saturday Night Live writer.
That's a 30-year-old joke.
30-year-old joke.
30-year-old joke,
But
Monty.
I want to know, are you still able to do this? Are you still able to go to Palestine? You've done these Clown Doctor with Red Nose International things in the West Bank and led workshops. Are you still able to continue to do this given what's going on there politically right now?
Yeah, well, I'm mainly right now abroad out of Palestine in the Netherlands, also running the Horse of Jenin. But most of my life is and was in Jenin until the war happened, and then I made this show, and I'm touring with it right now. But whole my life is there, and I work with the Red Noses since 2013 in Palestine, which we go to hospitals, elderly centers, kids who have cancer, and we work with them to let them feel any different feeling than pain and not having the capacity to eat, not having the capacity to connect. So that's why we, as Dr. Clowns, we go to these hospitals and we just try to bring some laughter to the rooms, to working with these kids and bring some hope to their parents, which is a very hard, challenging work to do, which is to go to a room that there is a kid patient who's no hair almost, and you see the parents in a very bad situation, and within that you need to be polite and make up a story or a connection with the family and then with the kid, and then just escape with them into a story for 10 minutes and then come back and leave the room with that fun, that flavor of hope and happiness, which is very, very challenging in a place like Palestine. It's not because of the medical situation, also because of the political situation around. So it puts on you like different, bigger pressure. But again, when you see comedy is working, when you leave the room of the kid while their parents are hugging you, saying, when I mean hugging means kissing in my culture, because people will kiss you when they greet you, because what you did to their kid. They say, oh, he was not eating since weeks, and thank you so much for that. So when you feel the need and the importance of laughter, it becomes the most powerful thing you do in your life. It also gives you an energy to your life after you leave the hospital. And that is the really power of it. You leave the hospital with power, more energy to keep going with your day. And sometimes, unfortunately, kids, and you come back next week to meet them, they're not there. So that's another take that you need to be aware. But we work with the specialized people how to go through all of that.
There's a small segment of this show, The Horse of Jenin, that deals with learning English. And I'm curious what changes about the comedy when you have to translate or shift the language of this show, because the show is in English.
What changes is like the concept is still there. It's just you're adapting to the energy and the mentality, attitude, understanding of the audiences. And sometimes you need to work so hard for that because there is one eye in the room. And sometimes you don't need to work that hard. So it's different. Something happens on a spot between the performer and the audiences, where the performer is trying to be smart and scan the room as much as I can, so I can communicate with the audience and make laughs and then bring them more to the story.
We're speaking with Alla Shahada, who's a playwright, an actor, a comedian, about Horse of Jenin, which will be performed at the UMass Fine Arts Center this Thursday, November 6th. You are a comedian, and you are a comedian who grew up in a refugee camp in the West Bank in Jenin, and is using comedy to sort of bridge divides and to open hearts and minds using laughter. There was somewhat of a controversy when a bunch of U.S. comedians, including many whom I love and respect, did this comedy festival in Saudi Arabia, the Riyadh Comedy Festival, at the welcoming of the King of Saudi Arabia. As a comedian who is from places that have been oppressed and goes to places all over the world with your comedy, is that something that you think is a good thing for comedians to be going to do? Or do you think that people should not be performing in circumstances like that, even if they are comedians speaking truth to power?
Well, I cannot talk to everyone, of course, and comedy has different intentions why they want to be comedians or performers or even artists. So this is something some people are trying to use the human stories as a way to tell the real story, and some people take comedy as entertaining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's your decision at the end of the day what spot you want to put yourself under. It's a decision of every theater maker, mainly, how they want to frame themselves.
The horse, what happened to the horse? Because it's relatively recent. That's only like the past 2 years that this happened. Does no one still know what happened to the horse?
No, that's the main question of the show. Like, we don't know, like, what happened to the horse. Did they arrest it? Did it go to court? Did the horse tell them anything about me, about the secrets I told them? Did the horse tell them about the kiss I had with Jumana secretly at the roundabout?
Oh, wow.
And the fact that she didn't like it? Did the horse tell them that 4 of her brothers came and beat me up, broke my nose when they found out that I kissed their sister? And then when my mother asked, while I was bleeding, my mother asked me who did it to you, I lied and I said, the army. Until now, we don't know what happened to the horse.
I do have to say that one of my favorite parts of the show was your family meeting her family. I found that hilarious.
Oh my God, yeah.
Ongoing silences. No one saying anything and yet saying so much.
The performance is called The Horse of Janine, and you can see it this Thursday, November 6th, at the UMass Fine Arts Center in Amherst. And we have been joined by the creator of The Horse of Janine, comedian, playwright, actor, Palestinian, Alaa Shahada. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you so much. We will be the only show happening this year in the U.S. Next year will be New York as the New York Theater Workshop. We'll be touring around the U.S., Vancouver, Canada. Before I go, I just want to say that my name is not Allah, my name is Alaa, because God is everywhere and I am here. Thank you so much.
And full disclosure, UMass Fine Arts Center is an underwriter of NEPM, but that is not why we had him on the air. And shout out to Michel Mouchtabek, local hero musician for the Layali Arabic Music Ensemble, which I used for the music for that interview.
Up next, a new facility presents new opportunities for the meat-raising farmers of Western Mass and beyond. CISA Director Jennifer Kaur joins us as we meet Kate Stillman at Stillman Quality Meats in Hardwick next, in Worcester County.
Worcester County. You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the UMass Amherst School of Public Policy, offering in-person and online graduate programs in public policy and data analytics. Admissions now open at umass.edu/SPP.
Where would you guys like to start?
We want you to show us all the good stuff here. Kate Stillman at Stillman Farm in Hardwick, which you say, Kate, is like a dead end.
We feel like a really wonderful dead end.
You're like a destination.
A destination.
Because
people love to land.
Yeah, and you are right up against the Quabbin.
Yeah,
so people are either coming here to go to the Stillman or to go to the Quabbin.
Absolutely.
You're right over the border from where?
Right over the border from where?
I love that where on its signs is like, somewhere worth visiting. And I'm like, did you do that on purpose?
Yeah. Let's make it more confusing. Where? But
somewhere?
Yeah, but we're in Hardwick. And Stillman grass-fed, pasture-raised meats and poultry, it says on your sweatshirt to make it very easy for us to remember. But tell us about your business here.
So I actually did not grow up in Hardwick. I grew up in Lunenburg, but I am a multi-generational granddaughter, of farmers, livestock farmers, produce farmers. And I landed in Hardwick 19 years ago and instantly fell in love with the community. This is kind of what we consider sort of the last real farm community in the state. I know we're a little biased. I got into the livestock business slowly and started just a mixture. Some pigs, some sheep, actually no cows, and we started raising turkeys. And at the time, there just wasn't a lot of people raising meat. The logistics and the laws about how you could get into it, how you had to handle your animals, how you had to have them processed, it was all brand new. What I did have was a tremendous amount of experience as the daughter of a vegetable farmer, so I was good. I'd already been selling heirloom tomatoes and arugula and all of this stuff to Boston area customers for 20 plus years, since I couldn't even see over the edge of the table. So the meat just kind of naturally took off. It actually took off almost too fast. We instantly hit the infrastructure problem that, hey, we're raising all this great livestock, the demand is off the charts, And where are we going to get our stuff processed? I had a couple really challenging years right out of the gate. One of the facilities we used had a pretty catastrophic fire. I actually had animals up there, and that was my first round of meat that I was going to promise to customers. I was driving 4-5 hours round trip to Vermont to try to find federal processing that we could actually legally sell our product. It was tough. I attended every class, every seminar. I was reading every book, trying to climb over all those hurdles to figure out how are we going to legally sell our product to people. And it was actually after a couple of really tough Thanksgivings where one of our processors had challenges. And it became instantly clear to me that I could have a wonderful business, have great customers, and I could get sunk because of somebody else's business. And the message got delivered loud and clear at the Thanksgiving table. If you're going to be a single mom and you're going to take care of your employees and run a stable business, you got to build it on your own. So we started down that rabbit hole. And the first piece of that was I built our own butchery 12, 14 years ago. I knew nothing. I can only think back now to what I told the bank this first meeting. Go for it. Sure, I got this. And it took me a couple years to build this. And I think we probably made some genuine mistakes, but we got through it. We got this place launched. I got lucky with an incredible crew of people who knew more about the meat business than me. You know, the first batch of sausage we made over here, to give you perspective, we probably make 300 to 400 pounds a week. The first week we opened this facility, we made 40 pounds. And we thought, oh my God, this is amazing. We're really living the life. And I think we used a standard mix. And it was interesting to me because I'd never made sausage before. We knew we had a really great product in terms of the meat we were raising. And we wanted to give our customers absolutely the best product we possibly could. So here I am. I'm using a mix that we buy from a standard supplier. And it's got all this weird garbage in the mix. And I said to myself, this is really not why we did this. So it took us probably, 6 months realistically to learn how to use our equipment, to learn what demand would be. And we started tweaking and experimenting. And 14 years later, I would say that experience has what allowed the next phase of our expansion to happen. My goal has always been here at this farm not to raise more, but to make more and to do a better job with what we have here. I think that's really the most sustainable model and sort of what works better for my staff, the farm. And when you get this whole animal back, there's a world of possibilities. Are you going to cut it all up into pork chops and pork tenderloin? Are you going to make some of it into bacon? So we have had 14 years to sort of perfect that. And that was what was the driving factor to push us for the next leg of our expansion.
We're with Kate Stillman at Stillman Farm in Hardwick, with somebody who also knows a thing or two about raising meat, the new executive director of CISA, Jennifer Kaur, who I'm sure has a bunch of great questions about how the sausage gets made.
But you doing this has already reached across the mountains, Bav was talking about you.
Berkshire Agricultural Ventures saying the need for these USDA processing facilities.
We are standing here looking at your new facility, which looks really far along, frankly, much farther along than I was anticipating seeing.
Wait till I take you guys
Let's go.
inside.
Yeah.
So we can head in.
So what will this be? When will it?
So this is going to be what we're calling a USDA smokehouse and value-added processing facility. And I think it's important to make that distinction because people, particularly farmers, hear USDA and they naturally go down the road and say, oh, this is about animal harvest and animal slaughter. And that's not what we're doing here. The state has done an incredibly good job. We're blessed here in Massachusetts. I know if you're a farmer who struggles with getting your livestock processed, you don't feel that way. But we actually do have some incredibly good processing facilities that serve producers in the state of Massachusetts. Where we fall down and where we're short is on having what we call value-added processing. So what this facility really is the next step for livestock farmers. We on purpose put up this building and designed the activity in this building sort of not to step on the toes of the existing processing infrastructure in the state. We're going to work in conjunction with a couple of the facilities that are around. And what's unique about our building is we're actually going to handle We handle poultry and we handle red meat, which includes beef, pork, lamb. There really
I
isn't
thought pork was the other white meat.
in the USDA world, it's the other
it
red
had
meat.
a moment, right?
Let's just not.
So we're really one of the only facilities, I don't want to say in the entire New England region, but it's really unique to have a facility that handles both those categories. And so we're going to be doing things here like making bacon. We will do some sausage making. We make pot pies, meatballs, some of the cool other value-added products that farmers can't get to make right now.
We have been running a meat CSA for a long time, and I think meat.
You and your own farm.
Yeah. Me and my husband and our own farm. That's a key part of it. But I think it's important for folks to know that the local meat movement has been largely dependent on sort of folks that are comfortable eating cuts of meat. So having the knowledge and the time to transform cuts into meals. We are all sort of subject to wanting a little more convenience. And I think one of the things that is a limiting factor to that is that we cannot transform product easy enough into meals, prepared meals, or stocks, or some of those value add products. So this is changing the game in our area for sure to have access to this capacity.
I didn't just come up with this idea on my own. It's been it precipitated out of a lot of things sort of exploding all at once. But you guys mentioned BAV, CISA. For almost 3 years going back, I've been involved in conversations with different people from those organizations. And really, when you start talking about value add, that's where the greatest profit margins are for farmers. So one of the products that's known is jerky. So many farmers would love to be able to sell it. I think if you go and look inside USDA stats, that's considered the highest, margin item for farms, or highest return on investment. So that can happen here. The other thing that's unique about this facility is we can produce ready-to-eat products. So there's a category within the value add that's called ready-to-eat, which means you can open up that package and just pull it out and eat it. Jerky is a good example. Deli meats are one of those. But we designed this facility to have that ability, but we were able to design this facility from the ground up so that we can do all of that.
We're with Kate Stillman at this what will be USDA approved facility at Stillman Meats here in Hardwick, and with Jennifer Core from CISA, the local hero folks, who along with folks like BAV have been instrumental in bringing this close to online.
Can we ask a couple questions about how you're funding this space?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's a really good question.
Did you go to the bank again and say, I got another crazy idea for you?
I think the bank knows to screen my calls. No, there's so many complicated steps to putting up one of these facilities. I got a lot of loans. The banks are sort of my best friends. My kids always say to me, do we own the house? I said, no, the bank owns everything. We have worked here for 3 years to sort of solve that financing. It's been complicated. There are a series of big bank loans that we've gone after. There have been some great grant opportunities, both through the state, the Food Insecurity Grant.
Grant.
The state has been wonderful. And there's been some federal money. And I'll be honest, the federal stuff has been complicated and tough. Everybody knows what's going on. We're fortunate that none of our funding was cut. What I would say is that rules were changed, timing was changed, that created additional burdens and hardships on us. And I feel like at any given day, the federal matrix can change on us. But it is a good question, because I think we're probably at the 90% mark. And that's something that we're going to be starting this week, is we're going to do a crowdfunding campaign, which we hope to gain that last 10%. I'll be honest, tariffs were a huge issue. We have been fortunate that quite a few pieces of the equipment are coming from fairly local, but everybody is sending a little notice. Oops, this is sourced from here. There's going to be a tariff increase with all of the materials. And then I think the third part has been the huge customization to all of the equipment. So this building, everything down to the panels on the walls, the floor drains, has all been customized. You're looking at our soon-to-be smoker there. It all was a custom fabrication, including what direction the door swung out. Was it going to hit the wall, the height of the ceiling?
Where the exhaust is happening.
All of it. This is USDA. This is an estate facility. It's very serious. It's the highest standards and levels of processing. We're hoping to raise about $100,000 to $200,000 more to sort of kind of get this project over the finish line. This will double, maybe triple my personal debt load, which is a lot, and I have put a smile on my face, rolled up my sleeves, and navigated through. One of the things to think about with this facility is, yes, this will upscale my processing capacity, but we built this with the idea to take on processing for up to 300 small livestock farmers.
300? That's
it's
a
a lot.
lot.
It's a lot.
So this is a regional food infrastructure investment. It's important that we all kind of understand the impact that has across the entire region, not just locally, but neighboring states.
And are you already talking with some of these 300 plus farmers? Like, are they already excited to work with you?
Yes, and that's really the next. I'll be honest, we've been in construction mode here for so long, and I'm about to crash into Thanksgiving and the holiday season.
Aren't we all?
all those turkeys right outside the door.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a lot to sort of navigate all of a sudden right at once. But yes, we are starting conversations and starting to get this out. I'm already having conversations with farms. A good example, I talked to a farm locally in 2 towns over the other night. On a whim, somebody said, call Stillman's, go talk to Kate. And we got chatting about bacon. And she said to me after the end of the conversation, oh my God. She said, I had no idea this was going on at your place. She said, for 18, 20 years, we've had a bacon problem. They want their bacon cured in a certain way with certain ingredients, and they can't get it done. And it's been a huge source of disappointment, frustration, a little bit of anger for them, feeling like, hey, we raise these animals, we can't get the final product we want. And she said, wow, she goes, there's hope. I'm unique. I employ mostly women, a lot of moms. In fact, 2 of them said to me, don't kill us, but our daughters have dance and we're going to need to leave early on Wednesday and Thursday nights. And I said, that's okay. We got this. So I think that's unique. Most people are surprised when they walk into a processing floor and I've got all these women rocking it.
This place looks real close to done.
It's very close.
How long has it been under construction? When did you break ground?
I would say we broke ground over 2 years ago. Planning wise, it's been in the works for about 3 years. I've had a tremendous food project manager, food safety manager, who designed this building with me literally from the ground up. She and I talk daily. We talked this morning at like 5 o'clock.
Too early
to make important decisions.
But that tells you kind of the seriousness, right? Like that's going on behind the scenes. I remind everybody, this is going to be a little rough out of the gate. When I first opened up our original butchery, we were processing one night for Thanksgiving. I think around, it must have been 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. It was Monday night, the Patriots were playing, and my crew couldn't get service inside. So everybody was outside trying, and it was back in the days when the Patriots were like killing.
They are killing again, by the way.
Killing again, right?
Number 1 in the NFL tied.
That's right. So everybody was out taking a Patriots Monday night break, and we went to go back in the building, and the doors were locked. It was one of those, well, who has the key? I don't know. So I don't think we're going to be making those kind of mistakes over here. That being said, this current smoker has a capacity of 500 or 600 pounds on one production run. My current smokers have a capacity of 40 pounds. So you can see the level that we're going to be scaling here.
I love Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Not Christmas music, technically.
Yeah.
Paul Williams rules. Coming up more with Kate Stillman and Jennifer Core of CISA as we get a hands-on tour of the still in construction but nearly finished new processing facility at Stillman Quality Meats.
Plus, we'll learn some of the challenges they face scaling up from one building to another and some of the cool ways that agriculture and her town has bonded together without me just going gaga over her smoker.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Eastside Grill, celebrating 40 years in downtown Northampton, serving steaks, seafood, and American cuisine to the Pioneer Valley and beyond. Open Wednesday through Monday, eastsidegrill.com. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Comfort Bagel, scratch-made artisan sourdough bagels, spreads, and sandwiches for breakfast or lunch, on Main Street in Westfield and at their new location in Holyoke at 92 Race Street. ComfortBagel.com.
What's your best guess as to when this place might be open if things are on the same course that they're on right now?
So I'm going to shock everybody. We're putting January on the calendar. Big construction projects run over schedule. I think we're only outside of our original schedule by maybe 2 months, which isn't horrific. We do a huge Thanksgiving business. We raise about 1,000 turkeys for the holidays. And I had said to everybody, please, please, please do not let this crash right into Thanksgiving. I said, you're going to give your turkey farmer an absolute heart attack. And that was the only stipulation. And of course, that is the only stipulation that is not going to be supplied. We are having equipment demos scheduled here next week. Big pieces of equipment are getting delivered.
Taking time out of your schedule in November to talk to some dumb radio hosts in CISA.
Sorry.
We're with Kate Stillman at Stillman Farm in Hardwick with the new executive director of CISA, Jennifer Kaur.
Will you keep the other side of the road open? Like with that butchery?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we ask, why did the chicken cross it? Oh, now we know.
Running
to come
away.
get processed on this.
USDA inspected.
Come get USDA inspected. In a nutshell, we're building a whole new business here. One of the problems, and it's not a problem, it's served me well, is we're only a retail business right now. So all of the product that we produce goes direct to my customers via my hands. This will change all of that because we have the USDA over us. We can wholesale and do all this custom processing. So this building over here in this processing space really will remain for all of that. There are so many regulations about producing meat and any product with meat in it, even something like a croissant or a piece of pizza that has sausage or some ham in it. Believe it or not, I mean, the USDA watches that. You know, we're not going to be making croissants in here, but it's that same kind of thinking. And that's what will change everything too. These farms that might have me make their pot pies, not only will they now have pot pies to sell to their customers, they can wholesale them to anybody else they work with. As somebody who drives 80 miles a day, twice a day, every single day since I had a license, the idea that I might not have to drive all over the state, and again, not disparaging farmers markets, they have served us incredibly well. But it is exciting that I could take a box of our pot pies and send them to a storefront.
One of the pinch points in processing is sort of that seasonality. In New England, lots of people have animals ready for processing at exactly this time of year and not so much in other times of the year. So will this facility then allow people to keep portions of carcasses frozen and then do some of that value add processing off season here to keep you busy throughout those 12 months?
Absolutely. We have tremendous freezer and refrigeration capacity in this building. And we can walk in and look at the space. I mean, the space is huge. We built with a tremendous amount of capacity to expand. Give you a good example. We're putting in one oven. We're putting in a hood that's double the size so that we can add a second oven.
Good thinking.
What are some of the differences between the facility you have across the way and this one that is under USDA regulation?
So that is a really good question. Honest to God, a lot of it is what we're standing on. The plumbing system that is underneath this floor is amazing. I've had some of the plumbing crew come through and tell me it's the most complicated plumbing system they've ever installed. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but there's all kinds of other small things, bathroom space, ceiling height, the light in different rooms, how much light you have, a hose arrangement. I mean, USDA processing is very precise in terms of how much moisture can be in your processing space, how that moisture is moved through your processing space. I view it as sort of a formula. You know, if you want to open up a USDA, you've got to have this checklist of, whether it's 40 or 50 items. There are just so many of those considerations that we didn't have to include in our building across the street. That being said, would that pass for USDA? Maybe. It is a safe processing facility. We do receive regular inspections by the state and by the USDA. What that facility probably would struggle with is that extra ready-to-eat processing, which there are different things we have to do inside this building for pathogen control. It's huge. This project is a multi-million-dollar facility. When we started, that number probably would have scared me to death. I'm glad I didn't have the full number when we started, or this probably wouldn't have happened. I hear a lot of customers who say, oh, USDA facility, this is great, but they can't visualize this space. And so many of my neighbors drive by, they see this big red barn. The jokes are funny. I mean, we have a sort of a local gambling pool going of what's going in the building. Some of my son's friends have said swimming pool.
Pickleball court.
Yeah.
Correct.
I think alien spacecraft is in here.
I know if you ask my son, he had dreams of an indoor basketball court. I also think we're in again, I'm biased. I think we're in a really unique part of the state. There is so much agriculture thriving in Hardwick. We've started something called the Hardwick Farmers Guild, and it consists of 18 working farms here in Hardwick, and we all collaborate. If I have a tractor break or I have an animal that's sick, I don't have to go to a store. I don't have to wait for somebody to show up. We go down the street. Neighbors are all farming in this community. That's rare. It's a piece of, what makes this facility special and having it situated. But we are looking for ways, that was always the end goal. Let's build it, and then let's see if we can get the community involved to really support this. Getting local meat on the plate is so much harder than getting other meat. A lot of these animals, for instance, cows are 3+ years old. Pigs are a year old. And you think about this, farms are booking appointments to have their animals handled and harvested and processed 3-4 years out. There are just so many challenging logistics to getting local meat. Just putting it at a farmer's market or just seeing it at the store and comparing, the cost and the price doesn't remotely come close to the whole story. I think one of the other little hidden gems of this project is we're talking about investing in rural communities here. Hardwick is an incredibly rural community. And we're offering about high-skilled, high-paying, year-round jobs. That used to never exist in farming, right? When I grew up, none of those words would have been combined together in a sentence. So all of a sudden, we have that here. And I think about building Hardwick as a farm community and keeping it as a farm community. That's one of the ways we're going to do that. But the farm crew is excited. They were like, "Ooh, we get a bathroom and a shower too."
The way the care that you build your space for your crew is such a reflection of the care that you have for your crew.
We wanted everybody to be included and feel like they were getting something with this building. This probably will make you guys laugh. This is the freezer. I have no idea how to open the door. So there's our first challenge.
It's a learning curve.
So this will be our main processing room. Ovens are going in here. There'll be production tables here. These are these cool floor drains that were custom designed for us. And the idea is so they can be easily washed and cleaned, which is so exciting. This is our walk-in cooler.
And this is a very big space.
This is a big space.
You know what it is off the top of your head?
I don't know, but I think you'll be amazed if you come back in a year how full this will be.
20 by 30 or something like that.
Probably.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Our smoker is going to go right here. And this is an important room. This is our ready-to-eat processing room, so no raw product will ever come in here. And that's part of the pathogen and the food safety control that we have built into this. We package, and this is the cool part, we have a packaging machine that's the entire wall. And the idea was to offer farms the same quality of packaging. So if you go to the grocery stores and you see the beautiful packaged bacon and all of that, we're going to be able to give that to farms. I probably have to sell a couple children to afford it, which is why we're doing the crowdfunding campaign.
So if you don't support the crowdfunding campaign, these children are going to get sold.
This is our walk-in freezer, which is really probably the highlight of this building. Most facilities have freezers outside the building. So much of the amazingness of this freezer is about what you can't see. This was all custom designed and custom engineered with our subs. I mean, we're all kind of in awe of this particular room here. And I'll give you guys a quick peek upstairs because that space is pretty cool too.
So then what do you do on the second floor, like
So
office space?
This will be all offices and, important production. So we've got laundry facilities. So this is going to be
a ton of space.
a ton of space.
Yeah.
This is a meeting room / conference room. We can do classes. We can host people up here. If the USDA needs to talk with my staff, everybody can come in here. A break room. People can eat lunch. The USDA gets their own office. That's one of the requirements is they have to have their own
Whoa,
space.
fancy.
Yeah.
So that, when they're coming and evaluating and looking at your facility, they don't necessarily have to do it in front of the staff, which can be disconcerting.
I bet.
So this will be spices and ingredient storage, which is really part of the sort of the wholesomeness of this facility, is we got to make sure we're handling those inputs correctly. This is a serious room that gets locked. This is chemicals. So, we got to track all of that. So this is the room I'm most excited about.
You got an office? This is a big office.
It's a great office.
With a nice view of your farm across the
I get a great
street.
office, I get a view, and I get a bathroom. When my project manager started showing me designs of the upstairs and how she was going to arrange stuff, she said to me, so this is your office. And I'm reading the fine print and I'm like, bathroom? There's hookups here if we want to put in like a small kitchenette. And she goes, so do you have any comments? And I said to her, I said, is this like, tell me your life's gonna suck without telling me your life is gonna suck? And I said, isn't this overkill for an office? And she said, no. She said, there will probably be nights that you are sleeping here as an owner because these facilities are serious. You know, paperwork has to get completed and done. And that goes back to, this is why you don't just build it, because you have to have people here who sort of can step up to the plate and are willing to assume all this responsibility. We're going to handle a lot of food out of this building, very seriously. So I got a bathroom, maybe a bedroom out of the title.
But at least a futon.
Get a Murphy bed.
I have to say, the only reason I was really willing to do this project and to go at the scale that we've gone here is because of working with CISA and BAV. You guys were great. They opened up doors and put the correct people in that were willing to hold my hand. I built our current butchery on my own with no assistance. This time has been the exact opposite, and I'm grateful. It's probably the reason I still am sleeping at night, and that I will consider ever sleeping again. But the help has been
Luxurious
amazing.
office.
As of today, the crowdfunding campaign for that last little push for Stillman Quality Meats is live, and you can access that through their website, where we will also mention they are currently taking orders for Thanksgiving turkeys, and like many places that do, they often run out. So get in early if you are so inclined. Thanks again to Kate Stillman and her crew for showing us around their amazing new facilities.
And thanks to CISA and its executive director, Jennifer Kaur. On the next Fabulous 413, SNAP is in limbo, and with Hunger Awareness Week and the March coming up, it seems time to check in with the executive director of the Food Bank of Western Mass, Andrew Morehouse, to see how this affects their operations.
And we will take you to one of the coolest community spots to gather in Westfield in many senses of that word community at Hutke's at the Nook with owner Kevin Gibo.
And the Word Nerd, Emily Brewster, will join us. Got a question for the Word Nerd? TheFab413 at nepm.org. I'm Monty Belmonte.
I'm Clee Smith. Talk to you tomorrow on Fabulous 413.